Yo, what is going on? PartTimerZack here, and in today's video I wanted to talk about Yuri and his abilities. Now, he is a new character coming to Valorant on the 12th. There were some YouTubers that were able to play him early in a little dev thing there that they got invited to by Valorant, and so I will be using some of their clips and stuff like that to kind of showcase some of the abilities and prove some of my points. I will also be leaving the link in the description to the channels and the videos that I used for the references in case you guys want to check them out for yourself. Now let's go ahead and dive into Yuri's abilities. So his first one is Fake Out, and essentially what it does is creates noises that of footsteps to trick the enemy. So it just gives off the decoy version of footsteps, so then the enemies think you're there. One cool thing about the footstep thing is that it will actually trip some different abilities from different agents, such as the Killjoy's bots, the Ray's bot, and the Cypher's little tripwires. So it does give a little bit of a presence that you're there, even though that you're not, right? So the ability is cool in that aspect that it actually tricks people, because a lot of stuff right now, especially for Cyphers and Killjoys, is that they kind of hide on site or something like that, and they don't really check much whenever the bot goes off, or until the bot goes off anyway, or until a tripwire is set, and then they kind of wide swing you and kill you. So this is kind of a cool aspect to kind of trick those players, myself included, because I play Killjoy quite a bit, so I'll have to kind of adjust to that as well. Now, one thing that his ability can kind of do is, from the video here, you can kind of see that he can set it off the ribs, essentially lay it down and it just goes off, or he can actually place it sort of the way that Killjoy does with her cluster bombs, and then go around a corner or something and set it off that way at a later time, in order to kind of get a timing aspect here. So he doesn't actually have to set it and just instantly goes. He can actually set it off at some point whenever he wants. Now, he wouldn't be a duelist if he didn't have a flash, so his second ability here is a flash, but the cool thing about it is it actually has to bounce off of something in order to flash. So if you don't have anywhere to bounce, it won't actually go off. So if you just shoot it out in the sky, it won't work. Whenever the Yuri sends it, they can't see it until it actually hits the surface that they're trying to hit, and then it becomes the flash that the enemies can see. So up until that point, you're actually good to go. So that kind of gives a cool little aspect of it, that you're able to kind of do pop flashes. If you don't know what a pop flash is, it's a CSGO term in which that you bank a flash off of something in order to get a good angle of a flash on an enemy team, whether that's them camping in a corner or to flash a site. So it's kind of a cool idea that they're adding something like this to Valorant in terms of being able to have these unique flashes, because some of the agents have, I would say, kind of more predictable flashes. Like Phoenix, for example, it comes around the corner, you're kind of able to see it. The Breach, you can kind of see it build up a little bit before it actually goes through the wall. So you do have a little bit of a delay there before the actual flash hits you. But with Yuri's ult, it's going to be kind of hard to hit the timing because it can bounce off of any surface and kind of all of a sudden be in your face, which gives Yuri a great leadway there in order to kind of get into the site effectively. Now, his next ability is a little teleportation. So essentially he puts an orb somewhere and he can actually just set it in one spot and then teleport back to it. I think it lasts about 20 to 30 seconds before it goes away. So if he doesn't use it within that span, it will actually disappear. But he can actually also shoot it. Okay, so you can actually have it glide around and it will actually kind of hover, right? And then he can teleport to it anyway whenever he wants to within that 20 to 30 seconds, which is kind of a cool idea. And it does go quite a far along ways away. From the videos I've seen, it can kind of go from like a whole side of one map to another, as long as it has like kind of a straight path. So if it does get stuck on something, it'll kind of just sit there. Now, if it's like in a doorway, it'll kind of make itself go through it. Eventually, if it's hitting the wall of the door or something like that, it'll kind of work its way out. Essentially, within that 20 to 30 seconds you have until then to flash, which is kind of a cool idea, especially if you're trying to get a huge flank, which it seems like this character is going to be a flank kind of character with the flashes and the teleportation plus the echo walk there, or the fake footsteps, whatever you want to call it. Now, one thing is really cool about his ultimate, which we're going to be talking about right here, is that I think it'll be a really good pairing with the overall abilities of his teleport and his flash, because his ability for his ult is actually to make himself go invisible. Essentially, he uses his ult, puts on his little mask, goes into a different dimension, and he becomes invisible. Now, his movement speed is up, but he can't shoot anybody while in this state, and he can't use any of his abilities. So what I would guess that he would probably do is set a, teleportation back with his friends, and then he'd use his ult to get some intel, or maybe go on a flank, and if it ends up going south, he can teleport back, right? Another cool aspect about his ult is while he's invisible, if he gets too close to the enemy agent, they can see him. Okay, so if you can kind of see in the video example here, there's like a little dotted outline around him. And essentially, if you get too close to an enemy teammate or enemy at all, it will actually be able to see you. Now, they can't shoot you and they'll only be able to see you. So it's kind of this weird, like, they can kind of see you, but they can't really do anything with you. So essentially your flank is kind of over because they can kind of see that you're in the area or that you've used your ult. So when you actually come out of the ult, it does play an audio so you can actually hear it. So if, say, for example, you flank on somebody and you come out of your ult, they will be able to hear kind of where you're at. So they get an idea that you are behind them at some point. It's kind of like Omen when he comes out of his teleportation, you can kind of hear when he goes into it, and you can kind of hear when he's kind of coming out of it. So you can kind of get an idea of where he's at and kind of go back and shoot him. But unlike Omen, he can't actually cancel this. So once he's there unless he has that teleport. Now that I got his abilities out of the way, I did want to talk about what I think is going to happen in the current meta. So as far as Valorant as a whole, I do really think that it's flash heavy or smoke heavy already. So I think he's just going to kind of fit in really well there. But I do think he's going to mix up the whole trap era, the Sentinel, where people are just kind of hiding on a site. I mean, Cypher will still be able to look through his camera and see that it's like obviously fake footsteps and stuff. But for example, if he's looking to put a tripwire, or Killjoy's looking to put a bot just to kind of hide and not really have to look anywhere, that's probably not going to be as safe anymore, because you're going to have to peek to see if the guy's even there first off. And it's really going to kind of work if he teleports, like for example, if he makes that footstep go and then he teleports to like a different little area on the map, you're going to be looking for that footstep, but not really necessarily the teleport in there. So it's really going to be able to combo that, or it could just be a flank or a fake, right? So if the whole team's going B and Yuri's kind of hanging out A, he can kind of make it sound like there's at least two people, because he can make his footstep go and then he can step as well, making it sound like there's at least two people outside of a site or something like that, and really give kind of a decoy kind of thing for the enemy team, maybe an early rotate team. So I really think it's going to change the overall meta as far as early rotates. It just seems like, in my opinion, at least in ranked, people early rotate like a ton, and I think that this is really going to punish that, because it's going to give an aspect of like, well, maybe you shouldn't have rotated because now my whole team's on the other side. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of an interesting aspect. I do like the character's design. I think he's really cool. I like the blue and I like the orange. So obviously I like his aesthetics. Riot has always made really good characters. You can obviously take that from League, the skins in Valorant and stuff like that. But let me know down in the comments whether you think Yuri is your type of agent. So it might be kind of hard to play him at first in terms of like ranked and stuff like that, but I do encourage you to check him out in the range if you have to, just to get an idea of his abilities and way they work, even if you don't plan on playing him, because it's always a good idea to get an idea. It's always a good idea to get an idea, right? Okay, but it's always a good idea to get a feel of how other players are going to play the agents and stuff like that, so you can counter it. So I do encourage you to do that. So let me know down in the comments if you think Yuri is going to be your next go-to, or if you think he's just going to be a nuisance steal. Let me know down in the comments. What you're going to be seeing right now is two videos on the screen here. One is what YouTube recommends, and the second one, well, that's what I recommend. Either way, guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.